Hello everyone, and welcome to your no-nonsense beginner guide to playing the Benoni defense. This comes after pawn to d4 by white, and we play pawn to c5, immediately counter-striking in the center. First off, if they capture, we'll simply play e6 and attack the pawn, and they have no good way to defend it. Their only try here would be b4, at which point we'll undermine them with a5. Attacking the pawn, they have to be very careful here. If they capture, we can simply take back with a check, at which point we'll take the other pawn, and we are doing great here. If they try pawn to a3 to defend, this does not work because after captures, their rook is actually completely hanging in the corner, and we are just completely winning after that. And lastly, if they try c3 here, this really does not work because after captures, we play queen to f6, and the rook is trapped once again, so they have to save it with something like knight to c3, at which point we can just capture and we are up a piece with a great position. So because of that, defending the pawn does not really work. They have to play a move like a knight to f3 and give the pawn back, at which point we're going to gladly capture it. And now pretty much no matter what they do, we're going to play like this. We'll put this knight on f6, and then we'll put this pawn onto d5, controlling a lot of central squares, and then we'll play moves like castles. We'll go knight to c6, and our only problem here is this bishop, so we're going to open it up by playing rook to e8 and then pushing up to e5. That way our bishop is now opened up for development, and we are having a great time in that position. So that's how to handle it if they capture the pawn, but their other moves they can try here is pushing up to d5. This is the best move, but real quick, if they try anything else other than capturing or pushing that allows us to capture their pawn, let's say c4 for example, we're simply going to capture it. And how we'll play here is after white captures, we're going to go knight to c6, pick up a tempo on the queen. After it moves, we'll play knight to f6, and our plan here is actually to go g6 and put this bishop on this long diagonal because there are no pawns covering any of the squares. So after like bishop g7, then we're going to castle, and you have a very tricky move in a position like this, queen to a5. Pinning and putting pressure on the knight as well as pressure on the bishop over here, and if white is not careful, they can fall into a trap with knight to e4, and now the bishop is hit, and all our pieces are also hitting this as well. So after castles, we can simply take this bishop, and after captures, we are once again up a piece. So that is what to do if they play any other move, but let's go into the mainline position here with pawn up to d5. What you're going to do here now is you're going to play e6. Attack the pawn in the center. If they try to defend it with e4, then after captures, this is basically the same as the main line, which I'll get into just a moment. But if they try to capture us, you actually want to capture back with the f pawn. And your idea here is to strike in the center with d5, at which point you'll just have a very big center. Their best try here is to go e4 to try and soften the blow, but after something like knight to c6, knight to f3, we'll simply play d5 anyways. And after captures, we have a nice big pawn center, and we're going to develop, castle, and we are doing very well here. However, their main move is to defend the pawn with pawn up to c4, at which point you're going to capture, pawn recaptures, and now we're going to play d6 here, open up our bishop, and after knight to c3, the way you're going to want to play is g6, because once again, all of these dark squares are completely open, so it makes sense to put our bishop on there and dominate all of them. So let's say white now plays pawn to e4, we'll go bishop to g7, let's say white now plays knight to f3, our plan is so simple, we're going to go knight to f6, and quickly castle, and you'll get a position something like this, at which point white's weakest square in this position is the e5 square, which is why we'll play bishop to g4. The point here is we're going to remove the only piece controlling that square, and then this knight is going to have a great home on there. So if they play pawn to h3 attacking, we're simply going to capture. Let's say queen captures back, we now play knight b to d7, and we're going to get our knight onto that square. If they play like bishop to f4 to try and control it, we'll simply play queen to e7, get our knight on there anyways, and because we're controlling all the dark squares, if white, let's say, trades their dark square bishop, this is only going to be good for us because their dark squared weaknesses are only going to be even worse. And if they try something else, like let's say bishop to g5 here, and they don't control that, we'll simply put our knight on that square. Let's say queen moves, we can capture this bishop, and after this trade, we already have a great position here, and white has lost all of their advantage. The only thing you really should know past this point is that back here, if white plays a preemptive pawn to h3 to try and prevent that idea, then the way we're going to play here here is rook to e8, and we're basically going to do the same thing. Let's say white castles here, we can also play pawn to a6, try and get b5, try and get a queenside expansion. If white stops that with a4, we'll simply play knight b to d7 and follow the same plan. It won't be quite as strong, but we'll still get a very good game. Alright, thank you for watching this quick and no-nonsense beginner guide to the Benoni defense. I hope you have a great day, subscribe for more videos like this, and I will see you next time.